Where do our beliefs really come from? It's probably one of the most personal and deepest questions we can ever ask ourselves. In this explainer, we're not going to argue for or against any particular belief. Nope. Instead, we're going to peel back the layers and look at the psychology behind belief itself. And that brings us to this monster of a question. Is the divine something that's out there, something we discover in the universe? Or is it something we construct in here from the raw material of our own minds? That's the question at the very heart of our journey today. All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll start with the ancient question. Then we'll dig right into the root of belief. From there, we're going to look at this idea of the mind as a mirror, then tackle a fascinating paradox. The seeker is the barrier. And finally, we'll see what freedom beyond belief might actually look like. Okay, so let's kick things off. Let's travel way, way back. I want you to just picture being an early human. The world around you is this huge, mysterious, and kind of terrifying place, right? You're facing these powerful storms, the cycle of birth and death, and you're just standing there, caught between total awe and, let's be honest, pure terror. I mean, think about it. One moment, lightning just rips the sky in half. The next, a new life is born. And then someone you love is just gone. It's chaos. It's completely unpredictable. And in the face of all that randomness, the human mind just craves order. It needs to find a reason, some kind of pattern. So the concept of a higher power wasn't some fancy philosophical theory. It was a survival tool, a really powerful way to bring some sense of order to a world that felt totally out of control. So if belief starts as this response to the chaos out there, what's the engine that drives it from in here? Well, a very powerful argument is that it all boils down to one fundamental emotion: fear. And check out this chain of events. It's a fascinating psychological process. Step 1, you experience chaos, right? The world feels completely uncertain. Step 2, that uncertainty creates this deep-seated psychological fear. You feel adrift, unsafe. So what do? Step 3, you desperately start looking for something permanent, something solid to hold on to. And that leads directly to step 4. We create these huge systems of order. We're talking religions for sure, but also things like ideologies, nationalities, anything that promises us a little bit of structure and safety in the storm. And this is the absolute key takeaway here. If the very foundation of our belief is a need to escape from fear, well then everything we build on top of that foundation is going to be shaped by that fear. It's going to be a little warped, a little distorted. This isn't about saying a belief is wrong. It's about recognizing that its very architecture might be a response to anxiety, not necessarily a clear view of what's real. This brings us to a really cool and kind of mind-bending idea. What if our minds aren't like windows, just seeing what's out there? What if they're more like movie projectors, and we're constantly beaming our own internal stuff, our feelings, our ideas, out onto the world? So think about it. If a culture is steeped in ideas of guilt and punishment, what kind of God do you project? Probably a stern, punishing judge, right? But what if a culture values love and forgiveness? Well, then you're much more likely to project the image of a loving, caring father. And if you're coming from a more philosophical, abstract place, you might just skip the human-like figures entirely and imagine the divine as this vast, formless energy, like a cosmic consciousness. So why all the different versions? I mean, if we're all looking at the same ultimate truth, why does it look so different to everyone? The concept of projection gives us a pretty compelling answer. Maybe what we're seeing isn't a photograph of something out there at all. Maybe it's a mirror, a reflection of what's already inside of us. So let's nail this down. Projection is just the mind's automatic habit of taking everything inside, our fears, our hopes, our values, and throwing it onto the outside world. And the crazy part is, we don't even know we're doing it. We think we're seeing reality. It's like our mind is the projector, the world is the blank screen, and the God we see is the movie we created. And in a way, we end up worshiping our own reflection without even realizing it. All right, hang on, because this next part gets a little more subtle, but it's really profound. It actually challenges the entire idea of a spiritual search. The whole concept of a seeker who is looking for truth. Just look at this breakdown. On one side, you've got the seeker, right? The I. And what is that I? It's really just a bundle of memories, conditioning, hopes, fears. It lives in time. But on the other side, you have what's being sought. Let's call it the infinite. And by its very nature, that's boundless, timeless.
So you see the problem? You have a thing stuck in time, searching for something that has no time. The very act of searching creates a gap, a distance that wasn't there to begin with.
And this is where it all clicks into place. The seeker is the barrier. That little psychological me, with all its baggage, is the very thing creating the separation it's trying to solve. The problem isn't that truth is far away. The problem is the I that thinks it's far away. The moment you truly understand that I, the whole illusion of distance just collapses. So if looking for is the thing that's in the way, then what do we do? Where does that even leave us? Well, the whole game changes. The goal is no longer about finding some answer out there. It shifts to discovering a state of being, right here, a kind of freedom. And we need to be super clear about what we mean by freedom. This isn't about finding a new, better belief system. It's not about getting some warm, fuzzy feeling of assurance. Nope. The real deal is freedom from our own illusions. Freedom from that split inside us, that constant battle between the seeker and the sought. It's about putting an end to the suffering that this whole inner conflict creates. So how do you get there? Well, here's the twist. There's no method, no 10-step program, no special ritual. It's said to come from something that sounds simple, but is actually one of the hardest things to do. Just pure observation, watching your own mind, seeing your fears pop up, your ambitions, your jealousies, and not doing anything about them. No judging, no suppressing, no trying to fix them. Just watching, seeing them for what they are. And in that quiet, that space of just looking without judgment, you arrive at this stunning insight. The searcher, that psychological me that was trying so hard to find the truth, was the curtain all along. It was the very thing blocking the view. And that leaves us with one last question. And this one isn't for me to answer. It's really for you. When the whole search finally stops, when the mind gives up its frantic, fearful hunt, when there's no seeker and nothing left to seek, what remains?